Boy, what a day. What a fascinating time we live in. I mean, it's just all this stuff going on. Scott in Xenia, Ohio. Hey, Scott, what's on your mind today?
Hey, Tom, how you doing today?
Great.
You had said in the last hour that you guarantee we will have a Democratic president next time, and I hope to God we do. But I'm afraid we're past the tipping point, and we need to somehow bust through the right-wing bubble to ever have anyone elected because they have set the bar so low with Trump that, like your troll that called in last hour to say how much Gorsuch sounded like a justice, that's all they need is someone who looks the part.
Yeah,
And
no, it's and which is what happened during the Reagan years. I mean, the same thing. By the way, somebody on Twitter, or maybe it was in our chat room, said that guy who called in, who said he had an open mind, he was calling into other talk shows last night. Apparently, he's a paid shill.
Oh, I have no doubt. And my point is this. We need a Frank Luntz on our side, and preferably a millennial and someone that no one knows is a liberal or a progressive or whatever label they want to put on this person that can bust through to them because they do not listen to you because they don't believe in critical thinking. We need someone who can boil things down to bumper sticker wisdom or 140 character wisdom that people on the other side see, because anytime someone from Mississippi gets screwed on Trump care or someone loses benefits through the budget, it will all be blamed on Obama. You know as well as I do, the right wing is already working on how they can craft their message to blame anything wrong done by the right to be blamed on Obama because he's their perfect foil in their minds.
Yeah,
And
I would take it a step.
I'm really nervous that we don't have someone that can get through that bubble.
I would take it a step further than that, Scott. I would say that if you look at how the Republicans have been behaving since basically the 60s, but in large part since the 80s, whenever the Democrats come out and say, you know, we want to do A, B, or C, the Republicans say, oh, but you can't because of this much larger issue of, typically it's the national debt, you know. Oh, you know, we can't put people on the moon anymore because we've got the debt. We can't, you know, fund cancer research. We've got the debt. We can't take care of, you know, women and children who are vulnerable because we've got the debt. And, you know, it's a fancy way of saying we're not going to raise taxes on billionaires or on very, very wealthy people or on corporations in order to fund your particular agenda. But it works. And so whatever the Democrats come out with, the Republicans come back. You know, the Democrats come out with a pop gun or a BB gun, and the Republicans come back with a cannon. You know, we're just going to nuke anything you say because of the debt. I think that the Democrats need to be doing the same thing to the Republicans. When the Republicans say, you know, hey, we want to cut 20 million people off Obamacare by destroying Obamacare to 20 million more uninsured people, the Democrats should say, we want everybody in America to be eligible for Medicare. We want to give, you know, they should totally throw in behind John Conyers' H.R. 676 and say this will, and just be clear about it, just loud about it. You don't want to save, if you want to save 20 to 25% of the entire healthcare budget of the United States, trillions of dollars. If you want to save that, well, it's $608 billion a year is wasted right now because of health insurance companies. And you want to save that $600 billion a year, just go with single payer. You know, but the problem is that it requires the entire Democratic Party to agree on that. And right now there's a debate inside the Democratic Party about whether single payer is even a good thing, which seems to me crazy. I mean, Harry Truman, a Democratic president, first proposed this in 1947. It's not like this was some brand new weird idea. And the Democratic Party has, at various times over the years, supported single payer health care. And in fact, in the last presidential election, did in their platform. So, you know, it's a tragedy that the rest of the elected officials aren't on board and that the party, you know, doesn't speak with a unified voice. But I think that that's how they need to do it. We don't need a savior. We don't need a Frank Luntz. What we need is to start standing up and pushing back using the frames and the memes that are historically the core of the Democratic Party. You know, Mick Mulvaney comes out and says, oh, Social Security disability insurance, yeah, there's a lot of fraud and waste there. We'll take care of that. The Democrats should come back with like, you know, monsters, like, you know, elephants stomping through the forest, trumpeting, saying, oh, wait a minute, you're going to take our Social Security. We need to expand Social Security. We need to do away with the cap so that people who make over $125,000 or whatever it is now are still paying into the Social Security Trust Fund so that it'll be fully funded forever. We need to do away with this only working people who make under 125,000 pay Social Security taxes. That's insane. Rich people should be paying Social Security taxes just like everybody else. That's what the Democratic Party needs to be doing. It's what Bernie did, and it got him 20,000 people in a stadium in every city he went to. I mean, this is not rocket science. The evidence is all over the place that this works.
I got to tell you, Tom, I miss your lunch with Bernie. I mean, it was so awesome last year seeing his message resonate. My 26-year-old daughter absolutely swallowed that message. We need him to keep talking, to keep preaching to the people, because he does put it in terms everyone can understand.
Well, we need the entire party to do this, Scott.
Starting to come around, especially with this health care debate, once they realize that, yes, the ACA is the same thing as Obamacare.
Right.
And like, we just got to keep cramming this down their throats. You're right. Maybe not a Frank Luntz after all, but we need someone who can bust through that bubble.
Well, I think it's going to happen through an evolutionary process, as it were. My sense of it is, particularly with our revolution and the indivisible movement and all these other things that are waking up. There's a great piece in The Guardian this morning I printed out. I was going to talk about on the air today. About how there are people doing salons all over the country, where I think salon is the word that they're using, where they're inviting friends over. There's one guy who's doing it with fire pits. Yeah, here it is. Paris in Georgia is the title of the article. Political salons spring up across the U.S. in push against Trump. Taking inspiration from history, groups gather in Seattle, Minneapolis, San Francisco, and beyond to plan opposition and create an outlet for their concerns. It's by Amber Jameson in New York. And it's a brilliant piece about this grassroots movements of people, people waking up and coming together. As that happens, it's going to be harder and harder for Democrats who are not FDR Democrats, who are Wall Street Democrats. It's going to be harder and harder for them to get reelected. And just as a natural evolution, the party had swung to the right in the 90s and in the early 2000s, and the party is swinging back to the center now. And I say the center because the vast majority of Americans, 71% of Americans, think that Social Security should be fully funded and rich people should pay into it just like everybody else. Over 60% of Americans think we should have a single-payer health care system, Democrats and Republicans. There's this long list of things. I mean, the Progressive Change Campaign Committee, the PCCC, has done some brilliant polling on this. And America, this is the center of America, is basically, the Democratic Party's platform in the last election and Bernie Sanders' agenda. This is the center of America, and this is the direction that the Democratic Party is moving, and the Republican Party is still way out here in billionaire crackpot land. And that is not going to bode well for them, in my opinion. Although as I've said many times, I'm on Donald Trump's email list today. Donald Trump was fundraising on Gorsuch. Give money to our campaign for 2020 because we need to support Neil Gorsuch. And it was like, really? But that's, and they're very good with their messaging, and they're sending out all this stuff to all the press, particularly all the right-wing press, about their daily accomplishments. And Donald Trump is bragging about stuff in ways that haven't been done before by presidents, at least that I remember. I mean, maybe LBJ did some. But anyhow, Scott, I got to move along. Thank you for the call.